Cordial?
Very cordial, very friendly. But consistently based on principle, because we have not involved ourselves into Iran-Iraq war, and we have stood neutral, but as neighbors, we have brought out Pakistan, Iran, and we are very proud of it. We have not allowed Iran to be isolated, and they will swear on Pakistan's name today.
Do you think that the overtures made by the United States towards Iran that precipitated the Iran Gate debacle, you think those overtures were justified?
Totally. I entirely agree. I need not agree with the modalities of this, but I see nothing wrong in the United States of America in trying to make up with Iran.
You mean the concept of trying to reestablish contact with Iran was good, but the way it was done was bad?
You're right.
Well, let me ask you this with regard to Iran. Does Iran now supports refugees. There are 3 million refugees from Pakistan, from Afghanistan and Pakistan, and there are about 2 million refugees from Afghanistan in Iran. Is that correct?
That's what Iranians say, that there are about 2 million refugees in Iraq.
Do you have any reason to believe that Iran is going to assist Afghanistan with aid, with help? The way is Iran going to serve as the conduit for aid into Afghanistan? Is it going to help arm the resistance?
I don't think so, because so far they have not allowed that free movement to the freedom fighters from Iranian soil.
If that were to happen, it would help you to spread the risk, so to speak.
Yes, officially, we also do not claim to be the conduit. You see what I mean?
Yes, I see what you mean.
Yes.
What's going to happen when Khomeini goes?
Nothing. I don't think the departure of Imam Khomeini from this life will make a fundamental difference in the Iranian concepts. I don't think so.
You think that the Soviet Union wants to acquire Iran?
No, not acquire, but I think Soviet Union is equally interested to establish with Iran as good and friendly a relationship as the Soviet Union should have with Iran.
Why did the Russians go into Afghanistan in 1979 December?
I think they wanted to make sure that they wanted to ensure the security of the region, particularly the soft underbelly, the southern states of the Soviet Union.
How can the Soviet Union pull out if it does not achieve the objective for which it went in?
That is debatable.
You think it can achieve the objective?
No.
How can it quiet down? How can it put out the fire that we're talking about here, the Islamic fire?
If they decide, and if they make it absolutely sure that Afghanistan and Kabul, after they leave, remains neutral, pro-Soviet, friendly to the Soviet Union, they might.
Is there any way that could be done, though, with the attitude, the disposition of the resistance, which has suffered so much from the scorched earth policy of the Soviet Union regarding the depopulation of Afghanistan?
John, one thing you must remember, that Afghans are very shrewd people. Once a solution is found which can serve the interests of the 3 main components, the freedom fighters, the refugees, and the present party in power, if they can find a solution which can satisfy the interests of 3 parties, they might buy it. Pakistan
expects $4.02 billion in aid commencing this October to renew the aid program, to extend it. And one of the conditions laid down is that you do not develop the nuclear bomb. This is a memo sent from President Reagan to George Shultz on the date of October 27, 86. He said, quote, "I hereby certify that Pakistan does not possess a nuclear explosive device. He must do the same thing this coming fall." Would you tell the President of the United States that it's perfectly okay for him to say that in truth?
Sir, we are honorable people. And when President Reagan wrote this, I gave him the assurances. When Prime Minister Junejo visited the United States of America earlier this year, last year, he gave him the same assurances. And we will give him the same assurances with the word that Pakistan's word is to be honored.
Let me give you the rest of that. He goes on to say to George Shultz, and that the proposed United States assistance program, that's the $4 billion coming up, will reduce significantly the risk that Pakistan will possess a nuclear explosive device. Do you agree with that? And is it safe for him to say that? In other words, by giving you the aid, he is going to, in effect, discourage you from moving on to develop the nuclear bomb.
According to the American thinking, he is just and perfect and correct.
What about the Pakistani thinking?
Exactly the same, because we have no intentions of developing a nuclear device.
How does it follow that if he gives you the aid, you will be disinclined to develop the bomb?
Why do you want to have a bomb? To ensure security, to create a deterrent, to have our own defensive measures. If we have it otherwise, why should Pakistan indulge in the proliferation against which Pakistan, on principles, is opposed to?
And there is a suspicion in the United States that while you don't have the actual nuclear device now, you have the equivalent of, say, three or four sheds. And in shed 1, you have certain components. Shed 2, you have certain components. Shed 3, you have certain components. Then you take the components out and you put them in a 4th shed, and you have the bomb. What do you say to that?
Nonsense. False. Totally false. When Pakistan does not have the intentions or the urge and desire to have a nuclear device, why should we have such things? These are all...
Why is this development going on?
Our effort is only in the technical field for peaceful purposes. We are just enriching uranium to a particular degree, that's all.
You want to use nuclear energy to create electricity.
Yes, sir.
Civilian uses of nuclear energy.
That's right.
The quickest way for you to be able to really embark on a true program of developing that energy is to sign the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. If you were to do that, within a day, you'd have 50 Lear jets from American manufacturers telling you how they could help you create a nuclear facility that would generate civilian electricity. But you won't sign that Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, will you?
No.
Why won't you do that?
John, freedom has no price. It is a precious possession of any nation. And it is not that we want energy and pay a price which Pakistan should do it at the cost of its freedom, of its autonomy. No. We will not buy that. We will not buy energy at that price. Because we feel that the stoppage of proliferation in this part of the nuclear energy for non-peaceful purposes, for military purposes, is not dependent on Pakistan, but on Pakistan and India. Therefore, there must be a regional approach.
You letting India dictate your foreign policy?
Oh, no. We will not. We will not allow India to do so, and we will not do so for India.
They are doing it, though. They are de facto doing it. You could create a very strong civilian nuclear energy program if you would not let India dictate to you, in effect, to veto the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty.
No, John, this is not my way of thinking. I think we have brought India to a stage, and we have brought the American thinking to a stage where they're all agreeing with Pakistan that there must be a regional approach to the NPT for Pakistan and India.
Isn't it true that you want to keep India off balance, and that's why you are involved in nuclear activity?
No, sir.
Isn't it true that you regard the bomb as the great equalizer?
Not negative. We are not in competition with India, but we love our freedom and we love our autonomy, and we will not allow India to bully us. Now, that does not mean that we should have a bomb. But if I can make the United States of America and others to think that what I'm saying is the truth, then
Mr. President, you've got the best of all worlds. You have created the illusion, and that would be your word, that you have the bomb, but you don't have the bomb, so you're still going to get the American aid, and you're still going to keep India off balance.
I'm not indulging in self-praise, but Pakistanis are intelligent people.
President Zia, the war in Afghanistan is causing massive dislocations in Pakistan. You have a heroin problem here that's quite serious. A lot of those drugs come from across the border from Afghanistan into Pakistan. Is that correct?
The fact that the drugs are coming is correct, but your linkage of the war with the drugs is incorrect. It is not correct to say that because of the war we are having this problem. We would have it even otherwise.
You'd have it otherwise. You've got over 500,000 addicts, heroin addicts.
Yes, we have a large number of addicts. They're estimated to be between 300 to 500,000.
You've been converting this society and this government to civilian rule for a few years. Do you think that if you were still under military rule that you would have more control over the narcotics problem?
No. I did my best when I was at the helm of affairs. In the last 2 years, when Prime Minister Junaid's government is running day-to-day business, they have done everything. They're doing whatever is within our means to stop the use of the narcotics, and also especially through outside.
Besides the drug situation is here, you also have another byproduct, or a byproduct of the conflagration in Afghanistan, and that is the presence of a number of Kalashnikov weapons here and other weapons that have come down from Afghanistan. Is that causing civil unrest in this country?
It has been exaggerated. Yes, there is a problem. But, Mr. McLaughlin, you must realize that a country like Pakistan, when it indulges in supporting the Afghan freedom fighters, supporting its neighbor in fighting a holy war, it must pay some price. This is a part of the price that we are paying by having an influx of arms, which is causing a little bit of unrest.
The refugees are causing great tension and stress on the membrane of society. They are causing dislocations in the traditional power structures of this society. I mean the unitary ones principally on the local level. True?
Negative.
No?
No. A part of it is correct. But in 7 years, with 3 million refugees, Pakistan society is yet the same. And the love and affection which the Pakistanis have shown for the refugees, and the refugees' consideration that they are guests, has not caused any major social problem so far in this country.
President Zia, you are still a general, but this government is gradually becoming demilitarized, correct?
Yes, sir, not gradually, but it is totally demilitarized.
You now have a prime minister. His name is Junaid. Does he undertake actions which are totally independent of you?
Absolutely right. He is the prime minister, according to the Constitution. Mr. Muhammad Khan Junaid.
Would he do things of which you did not approve?
He's fully at liberty to do what he likes. Now, for example, this last year, under the leadership of the prime minister, the parliament decided to reintroduce the parties. Perhaps if it was my way, I would not have let it done.
The political parties?
Political parties.
Which you would not allow to run in the last election. You said it has to be a party-free election, correct?
That is right. That's my belief.
Are you saying here that the introduction of those parties into the parliament was an action that was totally independent of you, and if you had your way, that would have not been the case?
Absolutely positive.
So Junaid is, in that instance at least, and you're saying in other ways too, he is an independent person.
Yes, sir. Prime Minister.
When do you think this country will have its next elections? Is that his decision?
It is, according to the Constitution, it is primarily his decision, but it also gives the discretionary power to the President as well to announce the election anytime that he feels.
When will the next elections occur?
We hope in 1990.
When will the Russians be out of Afghanistan?
We hope in 1979, if not 1970.
1980.
Sorry.
1989?
88, if not in 87. We hope so.
In a sense, Pakistan is containing the Soviet Union in the ways that we've discussed. My question to you, Mr. President, is this. Does Pakistan need the United States more than the United States needs Pakistan?
Mr. McLaughlin, it doesn't work. There's never a one-way channel in international affairs. It has to be two-way. Until and unless the interests of United States of America and Pakistan coincide and converge, no profitable relationship can develop.
One other question. Do you think it's possible for President Zia to serve as a mediator in the Iran-Iraq war? That would be a great boon for the United States.
Not as the so-called mediator, but as a humble person who has tried it. I'm already in it since 1979.
Through what vehicle?
Pakistan was the chairman of the Organization of Islamic Conference when the war broke out.
The Organization of Islamic Conference. Another question. Could President Zia mediate the opening of Iran and its in a post-Khomeini or even now a relationship between Iran and the United States? Could Zia do that? Zia now has a border. President Zia has a border, a big border with Iran.
Yes, but Pakistan will go only that far where it can convince the United States of America and Iran that it is in their interests that they should develop their relationship. Thereafter, the major component in this re-establishing of the relationship must come from the two affected countries, the United States of America and Iran.
Thank you very much for being my guest on One-on-One. Like Karachi, Pakistan is a mixture of the old and the new, the sublime and the transient. These two worlds coexist in President Zia. When Zia admits that he has the best of both worlds, namely the illusion of having the bomb, yet not actually having it, he is the aerialist walking the high wire of public opinion. Zia needs American aid, but he also needs the pride of the Pakistanis in themselves. Oddly, the bomb puts Pakistan on a level with its neighbors, who are already in the nuclear club, the Soviet Union, China, and its arch-rival India. The Afghanistan problem is even more complex. Pakistan gains enormous satisfaction from helping her Islamic brothers escape Soviet tyranny, yet 3 million refugees stretch the membrane of Pakistan politics and society. As for the United States and the Soviet Union, Zia must wisely fear a superpower deal cut over his head. Zia does not want to be the odd man out. Zia also has to fear that the United States may lose interest in Pakistan once the superpower deal is cut. As for U.S. policy towards Pakistan, the Solars compromise is enlightened. Give Zia the $4 billion over 6 years, but for the first 2 years only. Then re-examine the relationship, notably the bomb. Funding will help stabilize a nation that is the cork in the bottle of Soviet expansion. Mikhail Gorbachev may be an authentic reformer, true, but there is the distinct possibility that he could go the way of Khrushchev and be deposed in the short term, followed by a hawkish, historical cycle in the Soviet leadership, a seizure of OPEC, and the strangulation of the Gulf. So, as I asked Zia who needs whom the more, it's really quite clear. The U.S. needs Pakistan more than Pakistan needs us. For now, that is.
John McLaughlin's One-on-One has been made possible by General Dynamics,